lack of commitment is what's holding a lot of people back. Committing means this is what you say you're going to do. You create the plan and you follow through. Hello, Coach Enrgy here. It is tax season and I'm seeing a lot of things that people are going through. I'm hearing about a lot of things that people are going through from a financial standpoint. I'm hearing of situations that people have gotten themselves into financially where it is now requiring them to rely on this refund check that they hope that they get, and in order to maybe bail them out of things that they've gotten themselves into. And I do want to make sure I specifically speak to those who have made choices that have gotten themselves into maybe a deficit financially, because I do understand and definitely have empathy for those who may have, where life may have thrown a curveball and it really just took you off track. And so I completely understand there are situations that people are dealing with where that was the case, not anything of your own doing. But in this episode, I am talking to those who are their actions, their daily choices is what got them into this financial hole where tax season is it's like their bailout period. And so yeah, with a lot of the things that I'm hearing about, a lot of the things that I'm seeing going on, it is it is time to talk about it. And so one of the questions that I've been getting during this time has been around living paycheck to paycheck. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I do have some other videos, maybe two or three more other videos still kind of surrounding this time period and involving finances that I will also do here shortly. But today we are talking about the concept of living paycheck to paycheck, or the reality of living paycheck to paycheck. And so let's the first thing I think I want to talk about, or the first point that I want to make, is you have to stop spending excessively. You have to stop spending unnecessarily. And that includes anything that is not a requirement, anything that is not a need. You may have heard about making sure that you take care of your four walls, and you want to make sure that the spending that you're doing is only towards those things that are helping you live day to day, you and your family. So some examples would be the roof over your head. Okay, so we know that you have to take care of your housing expenses, food to eat. So definitely understanding that you have to feed your family. But even in that, part of helping yourself not have to live check to check, because that's what I'm going to talk about, is different ways of how you can help combat the need of living paycheck to paycheck. So let's just talk about those two examples really quickly. Housing. We all need somewhere to live. However, do you have to live in this luxury apartment? Do you have to live in this 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom, big house? Can you maybe live somewhere that's a little bit more modest, live somewhere that is more financially doable, that is within your budget based off of whatever your budget is? So housing, yes, and just making sure that you're not doing what people, you'll also hear a term called living house poor, if you've purchased a home, but otherwise, whether you purchase or are renting, make sure that you are not purchasing or renting something that is above your needs and above your means. And so just because, yes, housing is one of the four walls, we still want to make sure that we're making good decisions with where we're living, making sure that it's safe, yes, for our families, but not something that is taking up most of whatever you bring in monthly. What was the other example? Food. Okay, so we all need to eat. And of course, so But food, like, where are you eating? What types of foods are you buying? Are you eating out versus are you cooking at home? Are you going to the grocery store and making sure that you're getting the staple items that are needed versus getting the convenience and paying that convenience tax of doing a lot of fast food convenience of maybe ordering delivery to come to your home, like what is it, DoorDash, Uber Eats, those types of delivery services. That's that convenience tax. So yes, food is a necessity. However, there's still ways of being smart with whenever you're purchasing food or how you're getting your food. So if you're seeing and noticing that you are eating out a lot, and or you're maybe eating at like high end places or at these high end, ordering from these high priced restaurants that or fast food joints, consider maybe adjusting the places that you are eating at. Doesn't mean that you have to eat slum, but sometimes, especially if you are on the road to becoming debt free, there are some sacrifices that can be made and that should be made and that will need to be made for sure. And that's where the concept of rice and beans comes into play. So it's okay if you don't have this, the lobster and the steak or the surf and turf or whatever it is that you are used to or that you just really want, especially if you know that you're living paycheck to paycheck right now and you have to make sure that you can stretch that dollar to go as far as it can go. Talking about stretching a dollar, I believe that I'm probably the queen of stretching a dollar. I have done it my entire life. And so I can help you find a deal. I can help with budgeting. That's why I love numbers. That's why I love budgeting. That's why I live on a budget myself, because stretching a dollar is what can also help with making sure that you're not living paycheck to paycheck once you get everything else under control. So from a food standpoint, going back to that, just making sure that you are being responsible. I'm going to say that word probably quite a bit during this recording, but being responsible with where you're shopping for your food, and or with just shopping for groceries as opposed to paying the convenience fees of eating out and or having the food being delivered to you. Of course, there are exceptions. Some people may need their food delivered to them, even if it's groceries. Different supermarkets will have a way that you can get your groceries delivered to your doorstep. That's understandable if or when you need it, but otherwise save that delivery fee unless you've reached whatever that minimum is and the delivery is free. Okay, cool. But still be very mindful with absolutely every single dollar that is being spent and where it's going, and make sure that it is being spent on something that is absolutely necessary versus just something that is convenient for you. And I do want to make a note here as well, because I know there are just some lifestyles and there are just some family dynamics and situations where convenience it feels like it is truly necessary. One being single parents. So as single parents, a lot of us understand that a single parent is doing the job of many people. We're wearing multiple hats. And so sometimes there is that day where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to pay this this convenience fee in order to just make it through the day. And that's understandable. What we could do is create a line item in a budget. And that's going to be the next thing that I talk about. We're going to create a line item in the budget for when those days come. But we do want to also work on our day-to-day schedule, our the way that we manage our time, the way that we organize our day in order to be productive. We want to make sure that we're not overwhelming ourselves and that we're not overworking ourselves to where we are nearly exhausted at the end of the day, because that is the reality for a lot of people, and not even just single parents. That is the reality for a lot of people. And so in order to help that and help not having to pay that convenience fee when it comes to food or delivery services or the fast food, going out to eat, things like that, we also need to do the work on our schedule and our day-to-day lives and making sure that we're maximizing and balancing every 24 hours that we have per day. So that's a whole nother video. I've talked about it before on this channel. So but we're going to stick to the finances for today. But let's go ahead and jump into budget. So to help get out of the living paycheck to paycheck routine, you must create a budget. You must do the budget, you must create the budget, and then you must follow the budget. Budgeting for some people, for some reason, it is just a word that they do not like. Budget for a lot of people feels like restrictions. But in reality, budget gives you the ability to do so much. It gives you more freedom mentally, freedom financially, freedom emotionally. It creates freedom in so many areas of your life. And doing a budget is not a bad word that a lot of people like to talk about it as being. So doing a budget, let's quickly just run through the basics of it. Of course, it's much more detailed, but for today's video, when you're doing a budget, you want to account for your income and your expenses. So I'm old school, plus I understand the psychology behind putting pen to paper or pencil to paper in this instance, and getting out a sheet of paper and writing down what all of your expenses are and what all of your income streams are, whatever they are, whether it be you're working for someone else, so you have W-2, if you have two jobs that you're working for someone else, so those, could be two W-2s, as well as if you have side employment, or if you're just fully self-employed, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you are accounting for all of your income on one side of the paper. Let's just say if you have your sheet of paper and you write a line down the middle, and on one side it's your expenses, and then on the other side it's your income. So your income, you're going to jot down where all of your income sources are coming from, including child support, if you've been married, alimony, if you're divorced now, any extra, whatever is coming in. On the other side, we're going to talk about your expenses. That's where you're literally going to write down what all of your monthly expenses are. So that means if you don't know what it is already, that means you may have to log into your online banking accounts. You may have to log into, when I say online banking accounts, sure, your banking institutions like your Wells Fargo, your Bank of America, your Chase, plus like if you use Cash App a lot, if you use Venmo a lot, Zelle, all online banking accounts, plus anything that you do or that you are spending as far as like with cash. Make sure that you're accounting for any auto payments or auto drafts that are coming out. So you want to calculate all of your utilities, your housing. Take note of your food. If you don't know how much you spend per month for food, let me make sure to make a note here. Per month, what you're doing, you're writing down on that sheet of paper what your monthly income is versus your monthly expenses. So we're taking a snapshot of a 30-day period. Let me make sure I say that, a 30-day period. So as far as food, let's go back there. For the food, if you don't know exactly what you're spending, 9 times out of 10, that could be because you swipe a card, whether it be debit card or you're clicking something online or whatever. That means there is a paper trail. That means there is a way for you to go back and check those statements. You can go back and look to see, okay, on what date that I spend here. This is the day that I went to this particular restaurant. This is the day that I got a burger. This is the day I got a smoothie. This is the day I went and got Caribbean oxtails, rice and peas, whatever it is. And so just you have to go in and mark down all of that. If you need to download it on an Excel spreadsheet in order to just make it organized and then transfer it, I still want you to physically write it down, transfer it to a new sheet of paper. But if you need to maybe download it in like this, what do they call it? The CSV file. Download it if you have to do it that way, or just view it on your desktop computer, your screen, if you have to do it that way. But I want you to go through your accounts and look at every single thing that you swipe, every item that you swiped, and make note of it. Make an account for it. Make sure that you account for it. And when you do that, again, just for a 30-day period, that's where you can then do the calculation and compare what your expenses were versus what your income was. And then that's where we can see, okay, how drastic of a difference are those numbers. From there, now we have the information. Now we've just gathered knowledge. We've just gathered that data and we've organized that data. Now we can make a game plan within our budget. And so from there, excuse me, and so from there, once you have the numbers down, the next thing we need to do is go through, and if you want to highlight or do it in a different color pen, make sure you have fun with it. That's one thing that I say. Quick caveat here: have fun with it. Block out some time on a day on your calendar and block out, I would say, a good hour, especially if this is your first time doing it. Block out a good hour, whether you need the whole hour or not, but just block out a good hour for you to be able to say, okay, for the next hour, I'm sitting down and I'm working on what these numbers are. And get you some snacks, or turn on some music, put on a good movie in the background, whatever it is, but create a fun or enjoyable environment with wherever you are. If you need to go to the park and do it, and just lay down on a blanket and you're good to go. If you are going to do it at home, and you set up in your kitchen table and whatever environment you want to create in order to make it welcoming as best as possible whenever you're doing this particular task, because this task can be very daunting for people who are afraid of looking at the numbers, for people who are afraid of looking at that bottom line and really seeing the facts of their life, the facts of their spending, and to be able to then say, wow, this is why I am where I am. A lot of people are afraid of facing that. And so we want to make this task be as enjoyable as possible. Okay, so let's go back. So once we have the numbers down, now we can use a colorful pen. We can do some sort of color code, get a different highlighter, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. What you want to do is go through, highlight or circle what are the things that were unnecessary expenses. So that could be a lot of like any type of like entertainment type of items, because right now we're talking about people who are living paycheck to paycheck. Right now we're trying to do what we need to do. We're doing the work in order to get out of this position, get out of this situation, so we can then have fun responsibly. So a lot of the things that I'm going to say as far as these examples, it may seem like I'm the fun police. I had a client say that to me. Okay, yeah, so hey, that's I said I'll be whatever I need to be in order to make sure that we get your spending under control, sir. Okay. So, and yes, I said, sir, it was a guy that said I was the fun police. So, what we want to do is go through and highlight, circle, do whatever to basically identify where's a lot of this unnecessary spending going. And one of the first places that you can, that's typically easier to identify, would be entertainment. So, whether you go to concerts or comedy shows, if you are going out to the club, bars, lounges, things like that, you want to see just how much of your money is going there. And then we're going to do another color or another circle of another highlighter or whatever of then your housing expenses. So that will be your utilities. And then we're going to see where your food is going. Okay, if you are spending money a lot eating out, we want to circle that or highlight that in its own color so we can see just how much money is going towards that versus how much you can save just by simply planning and grocery shopping and cooking at home. So those are just some of the examples of what we would do as part of the process of creating a budget and creating a plan to reduce your expenses, because we're stopping the unnecessary spending. So then now we need to reduce the unnecessary spending as well. So we want to reduce when possible, where possible. We want to get that number down as much as possible. I'm trying to think of maybe some other quick examples. I think that's enough for now. Once you gas could be another one. Ooh, especially right now, gas is a little higher than normal because of things that are going on, and so that we need to that is a perfect example. Let me pause there for just a quick little second. It won't take long. Because of what we're going through right now, we're seeing how gas is so much more expensive. It's almost double in some areas. It's almost double than what it was a few weeks ago, maybe about a month at this point. So by creating a budget, this is when situations like this happen, it's not going to throw a curveball in our living expenses and in our income that we have to support ourselves and to support our family. So this is a perfect example, a real-time example of why creating a budget, getting ourselves out of the situation of living paycheck to paycheck, so we will have a cushion of being able to continue to support ourselves without it feeling like, oh my gosh, if one more thing happens, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose the house, or I'm going to lose my car. Let's talk about the car for a second. The car, yes, in a lot of places where people live, transportation of your own is definitely necessary, because public transportation may not be viable, depending on where you live. But that does not mean you have to get out here and get the latest and greatest and the newest vehicle. I was going to call a couple of make and models, but we're just going to say vehicles just in general. That doesn't mean you have to get the top of the line, the one with all the gadgets and the little touch screens, and the one with the big engine, the Hemi, and we don't have to do that, right? Just get something that is dependable, that is reliable, that is not going to cost a lot from a maintenance standpoint when it's time to get the maintenance done on the vehicle throughout the year. So that could be another video. A lot of people are spending so much of their money on a car note, on a vehicle, on a car, which is a depreciating asset. You have to be okay with not having the latest and the greatest. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what the name is, as long as it's safe and reliable. Especially if you're in a situation of living paycheck to paycheck. Again, that's who I'm talking to right now. For those who are living paycheck to paycheck, if you have a car note that is kicking your butt, be willing to let that car go. Be willing to sell it, trade it in, do whatever you can, so it doesn't just continue to build this big void that will eventually, or could eventually, get out of control. Meaning, I'm seeing a lot where people's cars are getting repossessed, and some people are doing voluntary repossessions, and it still has the same effect on your credit at the end of the day. So, car notes, yes, no. let's if you have a vehicle, as we're talking through these steps right now, if you have a vehicle that is kicking your butt, be willing to trade it in or sell it and get something else that is much more manageable. It's okay. It's temporary. What we are doing right now, as far as this process of getting out of the situation of living paycheck to paycheck and creating this version of the budget, is temporary. It doesn't mean that it's going to last forever. Once you get everything under control, once you get yourself to a stable position, then that's we can go back to having fun and budget properly for the vehicle that you want, budget properly for entertainment, budget properly for the food and the going out to eat, the type of places of where you want to go. There's a way to do it responsibly. That's pretty much what I'm talking about right now. So yes, reducing expenses. Car note is one of those things. With the gas prices being out of control right now, because life will life, we want to make sure that we have cushion for if something happens, as life goes the way that it can go. We want to make sure that it doesn't just completely make us feel like, just throw it all away type of thing. No, 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 no. We can work through it. We can definitely work through it if we have the plan and we worked in advance and we put the plan in place and we actually stick to the plan. So that's the reducing expenses portions and steps. Now let's talk about, okay, we reduce the expenses, but sometimes that's still not enough. So what we need to do is to bring in extra income when and where possible. What I like to suggest when it comes to bringing in extra income is to utilize and take advantage of what's in you, meaning what talents and God given gifts do you have that is in you, that's natural for you to do, that's easy for you to do. It's nothing that you have to go back into school, go into debt to then learn the skill, to then try to bring in extra income, because now we're talking time and more money. Right now we're trying to just use our God-given gifts and talents. So if you're, few examples, if you are good at coding, or, well, especially since we're in this AI time frame now. So if you're good at using AI and you're good at prompts, or you're good at creating whatever the visuals are, the animated visuals that a lot of people are into right now, is there a way for you to take that talent that you have and offer those services? Figure out a good way to package it and to be able to market it and promote it, and for free online. Do something on whatever social media platforms you're currently on. Create a website for free that you can do in order to drive people to your website. Social media, word of mouth, to your friends, your neighborhood, your neighbors, your local community, your library. Trying to think anything else that I didn't name. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Online and offline. Basically, finding ways, people, groups that you can market and offer your services to. And if you already are paying for internet, you already have a device that allows you to create the images, the AI images, then that's easy peasy right there. So that's just an example of something that's online techish related. But another thing, I'm gonna take it back just a little bit, because I'll use myself as an example. So many years ago, when because I'm speaking from experience here. So living paycheck to paycheck, yes. So what allowed me to get out of that situation, what allowed me to get into a more stable, financially stable position is, okay, I need more income. I've reduced my expenses to the bare bone. I've never lived above my means anyway. I've never been a person that needed a lot. I never needed the shoes, the clothes, the bags, anything like that. So when I say I literally minimized my expenses as low as possible. I was already living that way. So for me, it was like, okay, I can't go any lower with my expenses. So now I need to increase my income, because the job was just not doing it at that time. Because we're talking 22, 23, 24 years ago. So, and so what I did, I looked inward and I said, okay, because I didn't have time to go to school. I didn't have time to go back to school to get another anything to then help me get money. Not in that moment, because I needed to do something immediate and I needed to do something quick that was going to help bring in something. I needed some sort of relief sooner than later. And so I looked inward and I said, okay, what is it that I am good at and that I like? So that's the other piece. Not only just things that you are talented at, not only just things that you're naturally gifted at doing, but I want you to also think about, okay, but what are the things that I also like to do? What are things that I enjoy doing that does not feel like work? So for me, one of those first things was photography. So if you don't know, I've had my own media company, and one of the services that I offered under my media umbrella was photography services. So that was the easy, what they call it, low hanging fruit. Yeah, that was a low hanging fruit. Was it low hanging fruit? Is that right? But I'm thinking of something like, how do they say it? Low barrier to entry. You know what I'm talking about? Low barrier to entry. I'll get it in a minute, but I think you know what I'm talking about. But so photography for me was something that I was like, oh, yes, I could do this. So I started taking offering my services. I created a little flyer. So back then, before, this is way before Canva came about, way before a lot of this stuff. I basically created a flyer online at one of the pharmacy stores, because the pharmacy stores typically have a photo area where you can print your photos. So I was like, okay, I need to be as low cost as possible. So I created the flyer through, or got it printed through the photo printing section when they had a sale. So I was waiting on a coupon to then get some flyers printed. But don't laugh at me. My flyers were printed on picture paper. Okay. Hey, but it worked. Hey, them joints were glossy. Okay, they were shiny. They look good. But I put my little name of my company on there, and I put my prices for like headshots. If you want a what is it called? Pet portraits. If you senior and prom portraits, homecoming portraits. Yes, and I did a lot of events. Events were easier to get into, as getting my feet wet. So I did a lot of events, like birthdays. I would do events for that companies would have, like a customer appreciation day. Then they would turn around and have like an employee appreciation day, and then they would turn around again and have the holiday, Christmas, some type of holiday event, where they would then invite the employees and the families and or the community, to different events around Christmas and the holidays. So photography was, oh my God, I thank God for this every single day. Photography was that step that started everything else for me. But without photography, I don't know where I would be, or if I would be as far as I am right now in life. Not saying that I've fully made it, because I still have other things that I'm looking to achieve and other things that I'm growing as far as my business and my career. But photography helped me bring in just that little bit of income to give me just a little bit of room, so I can then start making more financial moves, better financial decisions. That also is what helped me get out of credit card debt. Ultimately, what I'm saying is I used a natural gift or talent that God gave me, and it was something that I enjoyed doing, and I put those two things together, and I put a price tag on it, and I marketed it, and I promoted it. So yeah, look inward, and what are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? Something that you don't have to go and spend a lot of money on, at least not yet, not initially. So that's another thing. Thank you, Jesus. Look around your home to see what equipment, what supplies, what materials you already have, so you don't have to go spending money. On purchasing those things just to get started, if at all possible. If at all possible, use what you have. Ask your family members if there's something that someone in your family has already. Ask them if you can use it. Ask them if you can borrow it. Ask them if they'll gift it to you. Check out with check your friends. See if they have what you need. Reach out to, when I say check out, reach out to your friends. See if they have something that you need to help you get started. Ask, again, your neighbors, your community. Again, go back to the library to see if there's a piece of equipment or software or whatever that you can rent from the library for free to then get you that first sale, get you that first client, get you that first gig. There's a lot that can be done, especially now. I talked about earlier getting stuff DoorDashed or Uber Eats and delivered to you. Become that DoorDasher, become that Uber driver and deliverer. So those are things that you can do to just help you bring in just that little bit of income just to get you started, because oftentimes that's the issue that's holding a lot of people back. It's just that first step, that little bit of income, that little bit of piece of money, that little bitty whatever to get them going. There's ways that you can do it. You just have to create it yourself, but you have to realize what you can do, what you're capable of, and what you enjoy doing. And then turn that around and start marketing it in order to be able to create an additional stream of income from it. So with all of that I've talked about, from the budgeting aspect, the living within your means, the reducing the expenses, the increasing income, and or bringing in another stream of income. Let me add here too, for some people, they may have the bandwidth and the time to maybe work 2 jobs. So just wanted to make sure I covered that as well. So something that's like self-employed type of thing, gig work type of thing, and or if you have the bandwidth to be able to work somewhere else as well, get hired on somewhere else, another W-2. So with all of that I've said, none of it will work. None of that will mean anything if at the end of the day, you don't do this last piece. Commit. You must fully commit to the process for it to work. You can't just want it bad enough. You have to also commit to doing what it takes. That's a lot of the issue, the underlying issue for a lot of us when we're not achieving the things that we say we want to achieve, that we desire to achieve, that we just feel it in our heart and our bone that we want to achieve. But yet, we don't commit to what it takes to achieving it. We don't commit to what it takes to changing whatever the thing is or the situation is that needs to be changed. Lack of commitment is what's holding a lot of people back. Lack of commitment is what's disappointing a lot of people within themselves. They're creating self-disappointment every single day. Committing means this is what you say you're going to do. You create the plan and you follow through. I'm going to end it there. Thanks again. Until next time, Coach Enrgy. Bye-bye.